Hi friends, welcome back. I'm Betsy and we're going to do a vintage thrift haul. Vintage at the thrift store, vintage Pendleton. Hi friends, welcome back. Let's look at my vintage thrift haul that I found in two of the local thrift stores in my area. I went out on Wednesday for a little half off action at the Salvation Army, and these are some of the things that I found. I found two things at the local Goodwill and I found the rest of it at my local Salvation Army. I'm only pulled the vintage things from my haul. I found some other modern things, but I wanted to showcase really the vintage items that I'm still able to find in my thrift stores. I always like to divide the vintage line because vintage is really broad. So I like to go true vintage. And for me, true vintage is like 70s and back. All right, I'm a little bit of an older gal. So to me, true vintage is 70s and back, and newer vintage is 80s, 90s, Y2K time period. So I have found that it's much harder to find true vintage items any longer in the thrift store. So when I do, it's a very exciting moment for me. And I have a bunch of true vintage that I found out in the wild to show you today. And I found a few newer vintage pieces. So let's take a look. First off, I want to talk a little bit about LL Bean. I love picking up newer vintage LL Bean. So this is going to be a 90s piece. It's got an oversized fit to it. It's got that, because in the 90s everything was kind of, we went through a period where everything we were wearing was oversized. So it's a nice oversized piece. It's got a cropped look to it. And this was made in the USA. I always look for made in the USA on my tags when I'm sourcing for vintage clothing. And LL Bean is a great example of something you can still find out there in the thrift stores that has still a good resale value for these made in the USA pieces. So if you see LL Bean and it has made in the USA, definitely pick it up. Here is a beautiful true vintage piece from the 1950s that I found on half off day at Salvation Army. It's rare when I find 50s pieces any longer out in the thrift stores, but it was my lucky day. And it was there for at least a week. It was not a new tag, it was an old tag. Here is a 1950s Pendleton. This is not a 49er. You can see by the pockets, it's got a flap here on the pockets, and the buttons are a bit different than what 49ers are, but it does have a 1950s label in it. I'm going to show you the label. Let's see. So that is what one version of a Pendleton 1950s label looks like. They had some other versions in the 1950s. There are some really great websites out there that will help you date a Pendleton label, and you can see this was gold and white. But I also have this Pendleton here, and this is a 70s Pendleton blazer, and this is beautiful condition also. And you will see that this label is also gold and white, and that is a 70s label. Let me see if I can get close enough for you to see it. That is a 70s version right there. So also found this beautiful Pendleton. I love finding 70s. 70s is so hot right now, like that late 60s mod time frame into the 1970s, and leisure suits are like one hot potato. So I was really excited to find this beautiful 70s leisure suit. This is probably a late 60s, early 70s leisure suit, maybe mid 70s, and this is by a brand called Act 3. So this one is a polyester wool blend. It's got the belt to it, the front pockets, and the matching pants. So this was a pretty cool find. True vintage 1960s wool pleated skirt. How adorable is that? It's got the side metal zipper on it. And I don't believe this has a label in it, so it's unbranded. But the colors are great. Here's a 1970s plaid wool blend skirt, but it has a matching belt to it. And the label on this one is Prestige. So there is the Prestige label. A newer vintage item. Like I said, I pick up all areas of vintage. I found this little short all set, and this is Looney Tunes. Was a label from the 90s, and you see it's Sylvester and Tweety on it. But this will be great for the spring season that's coming up. And kind of has that street vibe to it that I like, the streetwear vibe. Very popular. 90s is very popular right now, so when you find things like that, pick them up. Here is a true vintage little 1950s. Very sweet, romantic, kind of a crocheted beaded top to it. And this is Toby of California. I looked around to see if I could find a matching skirt that might have gone with this knit set, and I did not. But still, very nice condition. Another vintage sweater from the 80s, probably late 70s, early 80s. Just a little RK. RK is a label that's been around for many decades. I don't know if it's still around or not, but RK Petites, just adorable. Little ribbed hem and ribbed cuffs on it. A fun little newer 90s piece. I love this because of the pattern on it. And it is also a linen rayon blend, and linen is great to pick up this time of year for your spring and summer. And the giraffe just sold me on it. It's like a really neat novelty print, graphic kind of giraffe linen button front shirt. So good. Picked up a late 90s Y2K Thrasher cropped t-shirt in great condition. Doesn't look like it was ever worn. Found this amazing mod, psychedelic. This is probably my favorite find, I think, because I love the pattern on it, and I love that mod psychedelic print. It's very, very popular right now. People are looking for that mod late 60s psychedelic designs in their clothing fabric because it is just so much fun. This one's a little sheer, which makes it even better. You can wear some funky bra underneath. Just the pattern is great on it. I wish it fit me. It's a little bit too small in the bust area, or I would be keeping it. It's got these great pointy collars too that everybody's after nowadays. So awesome find at the thrift store. 1970s blouse here. He's got the 3/4 button on it. It's got elastic in the waist. It's got the tie belt with it. And check out those sleeves. Look at the batwing sleeve on that. So awesome. Nice little 1970s top. I will pick up sleepwear. I like to sell sleepwear if I find something interesting. This is a set. It has shorts and a little sleep top to it. And this is from the 90s, but I love how reminiscent it is of like a 1960s piece, button front, and this is in an extra large. And it's in excellent condition. It doesn't look like it's worn, and the elastic's still great, and it's just so sweet. I thought somebody might really love that piece. Here is a 1970s. This is actually a nightgown, maxi length nightgown, but I thought it could really be worn also as like a little dress. You know, it's just so delicate and cute, and I thought it would be perfect for somebody to do a little jacket over top and just wear out as a dress. We're back into some mod 60s. You have a floral design, little shift dress. It's got a metal front zipper on it and a front pocket, and just a larger size. Kind of got a Peter Pan collar going on. It's just really cute. So I picked that one up. Two more things. Here is a 1980s dress. just a classic. I think this might be more of a fall piece, but I picked it up anyway because it was half off day. And there was just something about it that I really liked. I love the richness of it, and then the like faux velvet, like faux mock kind of collar to it, and then the velvet arms or shoulders on it. It's got a bit of a puff sleeve to it, and it's got the padding in the shoulders. It is missing the original belt. It does have belt loops. That was not with the dress, but in general, it's just such a pretty dress. 80s can be 80s has been cooling off lately, so 80s might not be as high of a reseller as, say, something from the 90s or Y2K. But you know what? Even if it doesn't sell for a while, I think the quality is there, and I'll hold on to it. If it takes a little bit, that's fine with me because my cost of goods was so low. And last but not least, I found this at my local Goodwill store. And it's just a cute little 80s dress. It reminds me of a 50s dress. It's such a soft, almost like a brushed cotton to it. And it's just a little day dress. But I love, love, love the fun pattern and the colorway of this little dress. And it was probably handmade. It's got an elastic waist, no pockets. That's the only thing that's missing. It would be great if it had pockets. It doesn't. But it's still just a little comfy, pretty little vintage 80s dress. And that's my haul, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments, what's your favorite piece? How'd I do? Are you finding vintage like this in your thrift stores? Or am I just super duper lucky? All right, everyone. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.